focused. I was used to flying High's tail dragger rather than a tricycle type of plane like this, and the technique of touching down was somewhat different. Please, I told myself, don't hit the tail skid. You'll never hear the end of it. Keep it straight, Matty's voice commanded in my mind. Straight. Level off. Eyes on the far end of the runway now. The far end. Hold it off. Keep holding. Keep... I held the Cessna in a nose-up attitude as it settled. Then the wheels touched and I was rolling along the runway, soft and smooth and straight. You'd better be watching, Matty. I spotted her as I turned off and taxied toward the visitors' parking. Tall and slender, leaning against the counter at the fuel pumps, long brown hair blowing in the breeze. While I maneuvered between the tie-down chains, she walked toward me, hands thrust into the pockets of her loose blue jacket. By the time I stepped down, she was hooking the chain to the tail section. "Nice landing, McCone," she called. "At least one of my students turned into a good pilot." I grabbed the right chain and attached it to the ring on the strut. "I thought all your students turned out splendidly." "Some better than others." She secured the right chain, then motioned toward the stucco building that housed the fixed base operator, aircraft rentals, maintenance, and the flight school, and the 7-Niner diner, so named because the field was 79 feet above mean sea level. "Let's get a bite to eat." Now that I moved closer to Matty, I was startled by what I saw. Her tanned skin held a sallow tint, and her gray eyes were deeply shadowed. Fine lines etched by 40-some years of hearty laughter pulled taut, as if she were in pain. I hadn't seen her in over a year, but this was too profound a change for even that length of time. Something wrong here. Very wrong. She'd called me out of the blue the day before, claiming it was time for the flight review that the FAA requires every 2 years of all pilots. "Why not fly up to Los Alegres for the next afternoon?" she suggested. The barely concealed note of urgency in her voice struck me as strange, particularly since my review wasn't due till next March, and it wasn't like Matty to get her dates mixed up. But when I told her that and tried to put her off, the disappointed silence that followed made me mentally shift appointments and agree to meet her at the airport for lunch. Now I was glad I had. She caught me studying her and looked away, walking quickly toward the gate where a sign jokingly welcomed arrivals to Los Alegres International. "There's old Max," she said, pointing toward the small terminal building. "He's still hanging in there." Max, the airport manager yellow lab, lay on a patch of lawn. He heard his name, looked up, and yawned at us. The dog purportedly had been on his last legs for years, but to tell the truth, he looked a hell of a lot better today than Matty. I called out, "Hey, Max," and followed her across the parking lot. "Matty?" She must have sensed the question that was coming because she interrupted me and began chattering in a quick voice that was underscored by nervousness. "Listen, McCone, I meant it when I said some of my students turn out better than others. Take this hot dog I soloed last month. I never should have gotten out of the plane. The other day he's here shooting landings. A bunch of us are hanging around by the gas pumps, and Mark, you remember Mark?" I nodded. "Well, just as the guy crosses the threshold, Mark goes, 'Now there's an accident waiting to happen,' and bam! Before anybody can say anything, the hot dog's put it into a ground loop." "He get hurt?" "Bruised some, especially his pride. But you want to see one screwed-up prop and nose wheel, check out the 152 in the hangar." She shrugged. "Can't say as I didn't try to drum it into his thick head. Just because you're on the ground doesn't mean that you can stop flying the plane." "I taught you well." "Damn right you did." We climbed the steps to the diner and made our way among the plastic tables and chairs on the deck overlooking the field. A lunchtime crowd of pilots, mechanics, and workers from the nearby office park were gathered there, and many called out greetings to Matty. She stopped to speak to one woman, waving for me to go on and get us a table. A popular individual, Matty, and also something of a local celebrity in this small town 40-some miles north of San Francisco. Besides being the flight school's best and only female instructor, she was an aerobatic pilot of national reputation. And if all went according to her own fine